Is it getting the feed? Oh shit. It's been too long since I've done this. Oh. Hello? Alright. Twitch is working. That's good. How's YouTube doing? Hey, alright. We're in business. Cool. So let me just put you there. And then we're gonna put you down there. Let me pop out the chat. Then we're just gonna set this over here. We're gonna pop out this chat. Set it over here. Okay. One more quick audio check. Test. Sounds good there. And here. Alright. We're good to go. How's everyone doing? Alright, oh, let me close some of these tabs. Alright, I don't need you anymore. Don't need you. Let me make sure that's what my current window's on. Should ran through these. This one works, right? This transition? Doesn't. Fuck. Alright. I thought I got this one working. Oh wait, was Writers always open at the bottom? Was that how I made it work? And then... So now Unity needs to come in, and then if I kick Unity away... Nope. Okay, so now if I go back to Writer, it should turn off Unity. Why is Unity still on? Tools... Advanced... Unity Switcher. There. Okay. Now it should do it. So now if I go into here and I click this, and then if I click Unity, and then if I click Writer again. Alright, there we go. Everything's now working. And then... I need to figure out a way to do it. My switcher checks for the name of the app, but like half these programs, the name of the app is the file that's open, so every time I open a new project, I have to go and change every single fucking thing. Ugh. So I might have to just find like a regex or something and look into that debauchery. That fucking hellhole. Alright, so, hi. I'm back. Hopefully long term this time. I've been getting my mental health shit fixed, so now we're on good meds and we can focus and stuff. Hopefully, that's the plan. So we'll see how this goes. I'm getting back into game design, and we're messing with this project, which I don't know what to name it other than I came up with like a cheeky name, which was Playing with My Emotions, and you'll see why in a second. But all right, so here is the premise. I was playing Inscryption, and in Inscryption, once you beat a boss, you get to a rare card. And all the rare cards aren't... The whole point is that they're not obvious what they do. That, that like, you would get the Long Elk, and, like, depending on how, like, where you placed it, the art would change, or the cat one or whatever, the infinite sacrifice one that mutates, or the Ouroboros or whatever. These are like very, very unique effects that it's not obvious what they do, and it's kind of part of playing the game and learning the game is finding out what they do. So I played that, and I thought, wow, that'd be really interesting if you had a card game where this was about people. And part of learning how the cards functioned is learning about these characters. Oh, this character is secretly fucking sadistic, so that's why this card isn't working on them. Or, oh, this thing is this way, so this way. That was the idea. Now, originally, it was going to be a roguelike with, all kinds of shit going on. But I've realized a few things. One, there's too much dialogue that has to get written and too much character-specific information that I feel like it can't be that randomized. Dialogue is already hard enough. Randomizing that is fucking insane. And I also, and this is I think more important, is that the characters I don't think can be changing every run, because it's just going to make the game frustrating, because part of the joy is going to be figuring out why a character does something. Alright, so with that being said, let's get into what this idea is. So the way this game, or the way the idea works, is we're essentially going to combine, let me back up. I don't want to make a game about combat. There's so many card games about combat where you got an attack number and a block number and you fucking blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not making another Slay the Spire. I don't want to touch combat. Combat will be deterministic and cutscened. It'll be, that's that. So, what I think is going to be way more interesting is if the actual gameplay is you arguing with your team. That every time there's a split or this decision has to be made, that a conversation will start, or some conflict between the characters will begin, and that's what you play. And then the consequences of how that conflict resolves, based upon what is said, is outside of your hands. And in some ways, we'll get into this. I think it's going to be really interesting if we can make characters where you are playing the character, but you hate the character or don't want the character to do something, but that is what the character is doing. Like, maybe a character is convinced that something is true when you know it's not, and so they're just, like, bringing the whole team to their death. Or maybe there's, like, a really asshole character you're playing, and they just are... You can't manage them well enough, so they're just constantly bullying the other teammates, and you're like, I fucking hate this guy. But you're getting results because you're bullying them so well. Whatever it is, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So the overall structure is there's going to be some type of scenario story that, kind of like a choose your own adventure plot. There's going to be a set number of characters that are static, they're not going to change, and each character will have a deck, maybe a set of abilities. I will get there. And then when you launch the run, you will pick a character and you will play through the plot as that character. And every time there hits a decision, these decisions are variable in that they react to your choices. So, like, if one character dies, then maybe, like, you end up going down a different route in, like, a classic choose your own adventure kind of way. But there's two kinds of layers of variance that we're gonna make here, and then you'll see what I mean in a second. There's gonna be major variance and minor variance, and I very distinctly am trying to keep them split in my head because it's gonna get really complicated if I don't. And then we're gonna go over how I would have been thinking about the card game mechanics. I'll go over the doc I've written so far, and then we're going to do a lot of me mumbling to myself while we try to figure this out. All right, so where to go to next? Let's go to variance. So I'm going to explain variance next because I want to explain where my head is at and what I want out of the system, so that when we start getting to the system, the decisions I'm making and the things that I'm fighting over in my head it makes sense. All right, so what I want to split them between major and minor differences. So a minor difference would be how irritated one character is with another, and a major difference, or how an argument gets resolved. And a major argument could be, I fucking hate you, or I'm gonna kill you now, or these kind of like more drastic decisions. So how would this work? In my head, there's essentially going to be a set of conditions, or something resembling some kind of mood. And they're going to be cards or they're going to be trackers, or they're going to be some character-specific thing that you can't exactly interact with as much, but that sounds worse. There's going to be something like this, where you're going to, like, count, like, oh, I am 7 irritated with this character, or I, react really poorly to I'll like, get violent if I get bullied, or something like that. And so, those are going to be minor, and the goal of them is for the gameplay purpose. So how you are doing the argument or how you're resolving your arguments is where this variance comes in. Oh shit, he's pissed at that guy, so I can't make this argument right now. I'm going to lie about this thing to get this guy on my side, or I'm going to bring back up this old argument to fuck with him, and so then he gets off of his case, and then we'll be able to wrap this out. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking is the minor variance, because that's all gameplay system based, and that doesn't have to change the story that much. Then there's going to be major variances, and major variances are like the big story branches, like the resolving of decisions, and then we can also do mood checks like these, but in scripted sequences. So let's say that there's a scenario where it's basically impossible for these two characters to not butt heads. They're always going to butt heads. How much they butt heads is what's important. So maybe there are certain moments where they're, climbing a wall, or they're, separated from the group or something, where if they've butted heads enough and they fucking hate each other, one of them will kill the other. Which one kills who and where and how and why changes depending on, the choices you've made up until this point. But maybe if you've handled the mood properly and you've, done your arguments well enough, maybe I've lost... Uh-oh. I've lost paint. Hold on. Okay, my mouse is here. I love random technical problems. Alright, so my mouse is here, but the pen's not working. Let's check the app. And it's back. Okay, maybe it just had to be brought up. I'm not sure. Alright, so then, like, let's say that there's checks of, like, oh, X and Y are together, so how much do they hate each other? And depending on where they do, and, like, maybe the strong guy can push him off the cliff, but maybe if they're in the hallway, then he can stab him from behind. And so every time we get to these points, we'll do, like, small checks to be like, okay, how badly do they hate each other? And if you've handled the gameplay well enough, or you've made decisions that result in them not hating each other, or them getting along, maybe instead of killing each other, they actually will come out on the other side, and that can change some further decision. So the minor ones will be important in how they resolve, but they're mostly for major checkpoint flags. And then if we wanted to, and we had time, and we really wanted to get flashy with it, we could do flavor changes. So maybe the scenario is the two characters, X and Y, are climbing a cliff, and maybe we do a check and it's like, okay, we know they're not going to kill each other, but they're halfway to wanting to hate each other, or they're a third of the way of wanting to hate each other. And so maybe we could describe them differently. So in the halfway, he's like, fucking get over here. And in the 1/3 way, he's like, dude, we gotta go. Like, that kind of, like, minor variance to freshen that up. That is a polished long-term thought process, but that is in the back of my head. Alright, so now we're going to clear Control A and delete. Cool. So that's how the consequences are going to work. Now, there's a complicated thing here, which is that when we get to the system, I want the characters to not feel solved, as in I don't want you to be able to start the first scenario and be like, oh, I know this guy's like a fucking secret serial killer, or oh, I know this guy is, is like trying to betray the group, or oh, I know that this guy is like in love with this other girl. I don't want you to be able to immediately figure that out, just from like looking at the set of abilities. But there needs to be enough onboard feedback where when something major happens or a card is played, you can look at that and go, oh, I understand that something weird is happening here. This is not the standard. Or I know that this is a character-specific event that is occurring. This is not a standard gameplay loop moment. And so we need to be able to deepen the system enough to make those exceptions noticeable. So that's where we're at. All right, now to the gameplay loop. Originally, I had this idea for like this timeline puzzle where your cards were like, this is a 2-slot card, and you would like drop it in here, and then all the characters would drop in what they were going to say, and then like, oh, I interrupted you, and then it was way too fucking complicated. It was way too much, and it's too much. So then I was trying to think of other ways that we could represent this, and I thought about trick-taking games. And trick-taking games are your hearts, your cat in the box. I have typically the entire deck split up between us, and someone's going to, let's do this, yep. Someone's going to, the trick leader is going to start with the 7 of hearts. Okay, so now we're in the heart suit, so then he's going to play the 8 of hearts. All right, well, now he's going to win it if we don't do something. And then, because we're playing spades, spades is the trump suit, then I'm going to, go in, I can't fucking draw to save my life. I'm going to play the 2 of spades, and because the 2 of spades beats everything, then I am going to win this trick, but then they play the 6 of spades, and then they win. And so that's like a typical trick-taking game. And then I would take these 4 cards, put them to the side, and then I would pick which suit I want to start the next one with. So it could be like the 3 of diamonds. Now, that's a trick-taking game. And the reason I thought that a trick-taking game would be good for this is that trick-taking games don't have, is that you could do it as like a way to resolve an argument. Like, every time that a point comes up inside of an argument, each character contributes something to the conversation, and then whoever wins the trick is the one that controls the conversation into the next plot beat. So that's option 1. The problem with this is twofold. The first is that we would then have to figure out which suits win and which suits don't. And I'll show you why in a second. That gets absurdly complicated. It enters like Pokemon like elemental system levels of beating each other. And I feel like that's too much. I want it to be relatively intuitive. So I don't think we can go that direction. The other problem that we run into is there are times that it doesn't allow for a more complicated set of interactions. Like if there are multiple conversations happening, like this is topic A and this is topic B, and I'm trying to talk over you to do topic B, then you're trying to do topic A, and I keep talking over you, so now you're getting irritated, and then this guy on the side is trying to talk, but he keeps getting interrupted by both of us, and then this person is, listening the whole time. That type of sophisticated interaction that you would like to see in this type of RPG, or in a RPG where your whole thing is cards and discussing things, it's not really possible. Or if it is, it's going to require a ton of other mechanics built around a very simple trick-taking system, such that it becomes no longer a trick-taking system, which could be fine. That might be okay. So that is an option, but it would have to have a lot of work to figure out how the fuck that's going to work. So now I'm at this point where I feel like the interesting idea, or the idea I'm leaning towards right now, is that we have a set of cards, is that we have piles of cards, and each pile is a topic. So if the topic is which way we're going to go, there might be a topic about the character we're looking for. There might be a topic about, a basement. There might be a topic about an attic. There might be a topic about the living room. And so when we go to play on our turn, we'll pick which one to play, and we'll slot it in. I don't know. Maybe we should do the trick-taking one, because this also gets complicated. The one thing that I really hate the most about the trick-taking game, so if we could solve this, then I would be much happier, is I don't like the fact that it's that the turn system works like this. That it goes like clockwise or something like that. Normally that's how they work. So that everybody gets a chance to play a card. The problem with that is that this person at the end here, the last person, has the ultimate say. And if I give these characters an emotional range where they have access to a variety of tools, then it's very likely that there's like a 30-50% chance that you'll always have a trump suit, depending on how I set this up. And so that could be really bad if it's just last person goes is the person. But then if we want to try to fight that and front load it, we're also gonna have to be careful. There's a seesaw here that needs to be checked. Fuck it. Let me go over the suits, and then you'll kind of see where we're at. Okay, so we're gonna go up here. We're gonna go to this one. All right. So currently, I'm thinking that we're gonna have two in classic playing card games. You will have a blacks and red suits. So being black suits are generally more negative traits. Red suits might be more positive. And so we could have mechanics that relate to all black suits or all red suits as another form of distinction. I might also make the color of the character. So the suit's symbol is always there and the number's always there. But the color is variant depending on the person, so you know who said what and can track that later on, which I might have to do. But for now, I have black and red just to keep it simple. And then we have these are the ones that come with so far. So the first one's blood or brutality. So this is like, get the fuck over here, listen to what the fuck I say, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't do this, or just straight up like, maybe if you play like the 10 of brutality, you just fucking punch them and then like, did I fucking stutter, do this. So that's brutality. Then there's mockery, which is like, really, that's the fucking plan, we're gonna do that? Really, that's what you want to do. That's kind of the idea. Deception is going to be lying about something so that it's easier to do something else. And then flattery, I haven't got into yet. Empathy is going to be a reaction, or it's going to be cards about like, oh, I feel bad for you, or I see that like you're getting bullied, or I'm going to step in here. Why be nicer? Like it's kind of like a mutual respect kind of thing. Then we have egotism. At first, I thought this suit was going to be needed because I feel like there's enough characters that often have an ego that you could probably make a whole suit out of ego. But I don't know if it actually is going to work that way, because ego might just be a character specific, like I freak out when X thing happens ego. Like my ego is built around this thing and your ego is built around that thing, and in that case, the suit falls apart. Then we have reason, which is just cold-hearted, like, logic shit that is it's probably going to be really good, but, like, that's a whole... It's gonna be difficult as fuck to play, and there's gonna be a ton of emotional shit that makes it harder to listen to it and all kinds of stuff. But it's just your pure, like, logic points shit. And then there's vigilance, and vigilance is basically, like, kind of like a perception, or like and then at the high end, it's kind of like a paranoia of... should I fucking... Are you lying to me? Are you not lying to me? What's your intentions here? What are you trying to solve? What's going on? So that's kind of what I'm thinking for vigilance. Now, I skipped over this. So far, I had the idea of some kind of proportionality. If we number the cards 1 to 10, then I would assume that the 10 is going to be the most drastic of them, and the 1 is going to be the least drastic of them. That drasticness is going to be independent of the words that are actually said, because essentially the dialogue will be flavor text about whatever the fuck it is that we've done. An 8 of brutality against one character will be a different line than an 8 of brutality against another character, or in another topic. Like one, it might be get the fuck over there, I'm gonna throw you off, and then another one, it might be he's got an axe in the other scenario, he's gonna fucking chop your head off. I don't know, whatever it is, the dialogue's gonna vary. So the numbers are what's really gonna matter here. So I feel like there could be something about matching a tone or going some type of proportionality, where like if the suit leader or if the trick leader starts off with a 5 and then you play like a 10 and just fucking bulldoze the situation, then you've gone overboard. You're fucking with everything. You've taken it too far. And then the inverse could also be true. Like if someone's like played an 8 of like logic where it's like we should do this, and then you respond with like a 3 threat of like, no, we shouldn't fucking do that. it's not gonna hit as hard as you want it to, and you should get penalized for that as well. So that was one idea to create some interesting system setup, and so I tried to have the suits represent that. But if we're going to go back to, so what today is about is figuring out how the turn system is going to work and how the core gameplay loop spins. Because if we can figure out that core engine, then from there we can produce all the variances that we need. So, in one option we have trick. In another option we've got like pile stacking. If we were to do trick, normally in a trick-taking game, you have the declared suit, which is whatever's the lead of the trick. So, it might be a club. Then you have the trump suit. That's typically what the game's built around, like hearts or spades. So in this case, it might be hearts. Hearts are the trump suit. They always win. And then there's typically the other suits, and the other suits change from round to round, or from trick to trick, and they are basically useless. They don't do anything. You're basically guaranteed to lose if you have them, if you play them. That's normally how this works. I don't think I want to make one suit, one emotion that beats everything. That sounds painful. I also don't know if it's a good idea to make one trump suit per suit, because that can get really complicated really quickly. So maybe that's not the best idea either. And then I feel like I shouldn't eliminate all other 6 suits based around this. So it feels like there should be a wider range of available suits that get to be played inside of a trick. So then the question becomes, what wins the trick? And I feel like it cannot just be points, because then everyone's just going to play their high cards all the time, which is then how I came up with the tone stuff. But I think that there's gotta be another thing going on here. I also had the idea for let me delete this. I had an idea for having character-specific cards called moods that sit behind your hand, and every round they might change. And so this round they might be sadness, and this round it might be anger, and you will be in some way kind of beholden to that suit. So if you're angry, maybe you can't play the reason cards, or if you're sad, then you're more likely to lose it and let somebody else take control of the conversation, etc., etc. The problem I have with these is that other than just restricting what cards you can play, like if they're not restrictive enough, they don't matter. And if they're too restrictive, then those are just deciding what you play, and then you're not really actually playing the card game. You're not making any core decisions. So I could also make them challenges, like these are like solve this problem or solve this problem, like little mini conditions inside of a conversation, and whatever you do, that could be interesting. So it's not about winning the trick, That's interesting. It's not about winning the trick, it's about winning your suits. Huh. How would that work? So that would be like, well, and then you'd probably want to solve other people's, right? Oh, and that could be where the character specific stuff is that's not clear. Is you make argument X, and it's really persuasive to this guy, and you satisfy one of his goals by doing this. And so now his goal gets placed here, or like you don't know this, but now he's like on your side. So he'll just say like, "Oh yeah, I get you now." He agrees, and you're just like, "Oh, okay." There's something in there that because of this card, I've made the decision. So if next time if I want to appeal to him, I'll appeal to him using logic or using reason or whatever it is. That could be interesting. So maybe it's a limiter. Maybe each of them limit in some way, and then when you beat them, you remove the limit or you unlock the ability to do something. Or if the goal is to get other people's, like, this is like decision making weights in your head. So when someone makes one, you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's all right. Then you win. We're gonna do that then. Then why it shouldn't restrict you? It should be something they're trying to figure out about you. And then the point of the trick taking would be how you get to control the situation. And maybe the side effects of the suits. All right, let's think through an example. So let's say that we have, and brutality is just an easy suit to go to because it's so clear and distinct in my head compared to like what the fuck flattery is going to look like. I don't want all the conversations to be violent, to be clear. So let's say that we have. Let me read this. Let's say that we have a mood. Interesting. Deleting that is what made me lose the pin again. And then clicking back to the app re-enabled it. Why does that work that way? Interesting. Okay. Anyways, so let's say you got one end down here, and it's going to be, I don't know, what would it be? That's right, I can zoom in and out this way. All right. Uh-oh. It's freaking out on me. Okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna. I love technology. Where did my mouse go? There it is. All right, we're gonna go down here. Just gonna. Yep. There. Okay. This good enough? This is plenty of detail. All right. So you got one here, and it says something along the lines of maybe it's like coward or like not unconfrontational or something, where like you can't play cards on threaten rounds. So then he starts off the trick with a brutality card, and you're shut off this turn. So then somebody else plays something, and then somebody else plays something, and then that beats that. He wins the trick. I just realized that you could technically use like chips, buy-in, anti stuff for how committed they are to the argument or how much they give a fuck. And then you could force buy-ins in specific conversations and have that be your determining thing. So that once you get enough, then you go for that decision. All right, so these are your behavior cards. Then you got your hand. You got your deck for the remainder. Then you have like 3 chips that are like how much your opinion matters. You'll throw it in, do something. Someone wins the trick, they'll get the chip. And now it's attributed to that topic or this topic. That's not bad. I lose the pen again. What the fuck is happening? Alright, I'll have to figure out the fuck this is happening before next time. Alright, so if we tried this, what would be the complications? One would be, how many of these are there? Because if there's like 8 of them versus 3 of them, that's going to complicate the game drastically. Another is, do the suits do intrinsic things like I've been having them do in my head? Which I feel like they should. Would there be an under-over? Or would it just be highest point? Oh, another thing is that maybe the trick doesn't resolve as a win. Or what I mean is, like, in conversations, somebody will make a point, and it's much more meaningful to one person, and it barely moves the other person. So if we're going to represent that, there are going to have to be tricks that one person wins on somebody else, but that doesn't get swayed by a third or fourth person, which means that your trick win is going to be dependent on the other characters. Hmm. Okay. We do that. Is this what determines it? Is the card you played what determines it? Is it both? Well, it should be the card that, if you win the trick, the card you played is what dictates what won. But if you lost it, it has to be or if you've lost your like opinion, or if you had to force your opinion on, you've given your opinion over to somebody else because their point was so good, then that's going to have to be. Is that because of the card you play, or is that because of the card down here? I feel like it's going to have to be both. Because, like, if this is coward, right, or if this is non-confrontational, I can't compete with brutality cards. Then when somebody plays a brutality card, you just have to you have to commit. Like you're gonna be forced to accept whatever it is that they tell you. Um, that would have to be a really drastic one, right? Or would that be minor? Because maybe everybody has some variation of these. Maybe this person flattery works extra well if it comes from this character. It's like a crusher in love card, and maybe this character doesn't respond to logic at all. Okay, so these cards are important for dictating who's getting the coins. But then could you lose your coin to someone else's argument and still gain somebody else's? So what would that look like? That would look like you're in like a three-man conversation, you're deciding what to do. Somebody says something as somebody else is speaking, right? You've seen this before. Someone would be like, I think we should go to the basement because the basement doesn't have spiders in it. And right as they say the word spiders, the other guy's like, yeah, but they do have ghosts. And then he's like, oh shit, I don't like ghosts. And the second he says that, the third person goes, well, wait, I don't want to deal with spiders. And then they'll side with the original person. So now even though the two people that were arguing agree, the third person is now siding with the old version of that person, the second. That I feel like that's happened a ton of times. So that's how we could represent this, right? We could say, oh, I lost my coin in this trick, but you gained my coin in this trick. Well, no, it'd have to be the argument is what gains it, right? But maybe we're stand-ins for our arguments? Or are the arguments independent? Are they, like, locations that get slid, or that the coins get slid around when? You could also make these suit-based. Like, maybe this is your reason chip, and this is your fear chip. Because you're a character driven by fear, you get two fear chips. And so if you attribute more to fear, then it makes them more likely to. That's one idea. Okay, let's keep on this idea. So these are, if these chips are what sell the argument, and they're suit based, then maybe you can, winning a trick of a suit moves those cards in the direction of the argument you made. Or it could be because the tricks are constantly changing. It could be a never-ending trick, right? It could be I play something, and based on the last three, it moves them here, and then you play something, and based on the last three, it moves them here. And then you play something, and based on the last three, it will move this one there, and then you just keep going around in circles, and like with like two perpetual. It's not even really tricks at that point. You're playing cards, and each card is introducing a new state. basically. That's one idea. Otherwise, how would you win? Like, if you have a fear token, because you're gonna run it on fear. Oh, you could even change these. Like, if one character kills character A kills character B, character C's reason or like infatuation token with B gets replaced with anger token to A. And so now they're gonna be, they're not gonna want to fucking that anger token can't go anywhere that can't go with a win. But then maybe if you bully this guy, then he gets a fear token of you, and then you can better control that token. Hmm. And then what would these cards be then? Because if we're controlling the tokens a lot, then these cards would be... Would you have one per suit? Definitely not, right? You'd have to have... And then what would the cutoff be? They can't all be on the same spot. It would have to be 2/3 or something, some majoral number. Oh, when your black suits, your blood, your bloods, your comedies, whatever, those could be negative tokens. Like, oh, I'm scared of you, or I'm angry with you, so wherever my token ends up, it's a -1 for that thing. I don't want to do that. And then you could put your anger aside, and slide it a different fucking hell. So yeah, you could do that. And then how would that work with... Got your anchor token. So you got different tokens. Tokens will change depending upon what's happened in the plot and what the character is in. So then these aren't mood cards anymore. These are like trait cards. These are much more permanent character defining effects that are much more rigid. Maybe these can't even be changed, or they can only be changed in like drastic situations. All right, I've lost the mouse again. Why it's happening? We're gonna go here, click that, and then we're gonna go. Yep, okay. Beautiful. Wait, there's one button that does that. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. So these are trait cards. They're just like a core part of your character. They're going to modify how your entire game plays for the entirety of the game. Then these are your argument cards. And then these tokens are how you have to convince them. Okay, so the question becomes, how many are there of these and of these? Because if there's like 12 of them, this is going to be a radically different game than if there was 3. And then how many suits are we going to have? Let's see. I like brutality as a suit. I think that's a very impactful suit. I think it's very thematic. I think that fits. I like mockery as a suit. I like deception as an idea. I don't know how it would work in this context. How would that work in this context? You would play a deception card, and the card would pretend to be of the trick suit. It's just a wild suit, and then that like can pull in others, but then deception's broken. Or maybe it's like oh, maybe when you play a deception card, you get a new deception token and you stack it with another token. And so that way, whenever like whatever the deception is will slide with that token and will control that token. So if the lie gets caught, then it's gonna fucking turn against you. But if you never get the lie caught, then you can use that information to move the token to what's important. I like that idea actually. Stacking the chips so that you'll have like complicated. Yeah, because maybe then you could have multiple emotions that get bonded together, or you could even have like you could have the chips get maybe that's instead of the chip get changing suit, maybe the chip gains an additional suit. You act in fear, but now you're also going to be scared of this guy, or also be. Oh, lovely! We got a bot in chat. Cool. All right, back to the thing at hand. So how does this work? So yeah, like if you have a chip, maybe let's say that you have a chip that's fucking, I don't know, trust in one character, and then this guy, threatens you, and so then you put a fear chip on top of it, and now it could be controlled by both. Hello, Blue Gaming. How you doing? All right, so chip stacking could be interesting. Then we have you are looking at my doodles of this card game that I'm trying to design right now. Okay, so let's do. Do you get a coin? Do you get a chip per card? No, that's too much. You get a chip per half card. So 2 to 1. That's still too much. I feel like there's not going to be very many of these. Or maybe you can add new ones to the pot, like in the way Deception does. Maybe you can then add. Maybe instead of stacking them, maybe Deception's the stack effect. And then Yeah, if you're coming in right now, you're gonna be kind of fucking lost. Like, I spent the entire last hour explaining what I've been thinking through. So, um, right now I'm just brainstorming. So, yeah, welcome for the ride, but totally understand if you want to dip. Yeah, so the game is basically like choose your own adventure RPG, where the card decision part of it is you arguing with your teammates about which choice to make, and that will be your actual decision making. It's not like a combat based one. It's all about how you persuade your teammates and the relationships between the teammates before they fucking everything goes to shit. Um, Thank you. I hope it will be. So the idea right now is that there are cards in your hand that are essentially the suit is the emotion, and the number is how potent that emotion is. So maybe or not emotion. Like one of the suits is like brutality. It's like just being really gruff or violent or threatening in order to get what you want. And then we're gonna have these character cards down here, and they're basically gonna be like character traits unique to your, maybe not unique, but they're gonna have character traits down here. They're going to basically affect how you play the game when you're playing a character. And then I'm thinking about having chips be like these like little poker chips that sit on the side, be what dictates like how you can be reasoned with. So if you've got like a logic chip, then they just have to make a logical argument, or maybe they can scare you into doing what they want or whatever. And so the manipulation of these chips around the board, which is probably going to have like spots for different topics, that's probably how it's going to work. So the board will look like argument is where we go. So this will be like attic, this will be basement, and this will be living room. And then we'll have a stack of our chips here. And you'll have your chips, you'll have your chips, and then we'll like be like, okay, at game start, I'm placing mine here, you're placing yours here, and you're placing yours here, and then you're gonna have your cards, and then you'll have these down here at the bottom. So then we'll go. So then, like, let's say you'll play a fear card, and you're basically just fear mongering, like, oh, we don't want to go to the attic. The attic's really scary. And so then someone's like, oh shit, it's really scary. Okay, well I'm gonna move. Then my fear card gets moved to basement, and then someone's like, oh, maybe I'm interested in ghosts. So maybe then their token goes over to A. And then this person is like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the living room. We're all going to go to the living room. We're going to fucking beat your shit in. And so he plays like a threatening card. And so then what that look like? Would you stack it on top as like a negative effect, or would you add a chip to the pool? Maybe brutality is what you can like forcefully move chips. Well, no, all of them are technically moving chips. We're trying to figure out the intricacies here and how the fuck this works. So then you come in and you're like, but the basement has poison in it. And so then reason does something maybe. Ugh, okay. This is a good setup because it gives us this character variety. It's not actually trick taking anymore, which is fine. Now we're just going to go clockwise. We might even have like maybe these traits allow you to like skip people's turns, like maybe if they get afraid then they like go silent, or maybe this person can jump in and interrupt when they get when somebody is bullying somebody else because they're empathetic. Then yeah, you could just go back and forth that way. So what do we need to do? The next step would be figure out the suits and how they modify. Well, the suits. Do the suits do anything intrinsically? That's what we need to figure out. Because in my head, the suits did things intrinsically. So there might just be some minor variation. Let's see. Okay. Wait, Blue, you're not the speedrun Hollow Knight Blue, are you? Okay. I figured, but I was like, wait a second, I think I know that name. Okay. Back to this. So, yeah. Did you play Silksong? Yeah. Did you like it? Love it. Okay. I know a lot of people who got really irritated with that game. So I was curious if you. Oh, you still suck. Okay, cool. I understand. Uh. All right. So yeah, let's go through our suits. So we got brutality. Then we have mockery. Maybe I don't know if I like this one. Then we have deception. Flattery. Your favorite Shovel Knight? Did you play Mina? Yeah, Mina the Hollower. It's made by the guys who made Shovel Knight. It's like a Zelda-like, like an old school top-down Zelda-like. It came out like a month ago, I think. It's pretty good. I have a few gripes with it, but it's a good game. If you like Shovel Knight, it's in the it's by the same guys. Okay, brutality, deception. Why do I not like mockery? I don't like mockery because maybe you could make it work. I don't know what. Maybe it's fine. There's something about it that's bothering me. I don't know what. Deception is clear. I like that in my head. Brutality is clear. Flattery, I don't understand at all. I don't know how the fuck I would do that. Let's see. The other suits I have so far was empathy. I can fucking draw. Then there was egotism. Reason. What the fuck? Then vigilance. I also had the idea of trust at one point. And then we've been talking about a fear suit. Alright, we should make as many suits that make mechanical sense. Because that's what we're trying to focus on right now. So let's go through them. Brutality. Right now, we basically just have a color game, right? We have got a variety of suits. When you play a suit, the chips move in the way that you played them. You're good, man. You want to just hang out? Feel free to do so. I mostly just been doing this so I can, I don't know, walk around a bit. Not just sit here alone doing it. Okay, so... Let's see. We have... You play this... Because they're just sliding to the color, do you put them... You're representing your position. Oh, cool. Okay. Would you put the card on the topic? I feel like that makes more sense. I play the card here, so then it does something different than if I was to play it there. Because if you... Okay. Fear, you play it on a topic, and it pushes out other tokens to other topics. That's what fear does. It scares away the other arguments. Does it brutality grabs a token and pulls it towards yours. That's what brutality would do, right? Because you're saying, hey, you're gonna do what the fuck I say. Oops, let me go. Okay, so brutality, you play it on another one and pull it towards yours. What happens if you play it on... Can you even play it on yours? What would that do? Don't do what I say or I'm gonna kill you? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, okay. So you can only play it on opposing ones. Fear, you can... I mean, I guess you could scare people away from your position. You could be like, yeah, so there's ghosts up in the attic, but it's still the best route. And then they fucking... Maybe you could do it that way. So maybe it's... Black suits can be played on opposing, and red suits can only be played on yours. And then maybe there's neutral topics. That's where it is. There's neutral topics. Yeah, okay, that's how we do the split. Black is suits that affect other locations or other topics. Red is ones that build your own topic. So, empathy would actually be a black suit because it's doing something based on somebody else. It's going, hey, I am empathizing with you, so your effect is changing. Or would it be empathize with me, maybe? Like a pity party? Oh, maybe you could do the same thing here with fear. Fear on yourself is like, I'm scared, we have to do this. Yeah, ability balancing is it's the good shit. Alright, So fear scares away. That's what we know. Fear scares away from wherever you play it. Brutality pulls it towards another location. But you maybe only get to pull. Oh. Maybe that's what the values are. Instead of having numbers 1 through 10, we could have numbers 1 through 5. And then just play more and build up a little bit more chips into the pot. And then the value is how many of this affects. So Fear 3 scares away 3 chips. Brutality 2 pulls 2 chips in from somebody. Interesting. Because that's how value could be important. Okay. So then, that's what fear does. That's what brutality does. Empathy has to be something about playing. There's like empathy could be, I'm empathetic, look at me, crying face, help me. Or it could be, you see somebody else getting pushed around, and so then you step in and do something. So maybe empathy is like a counterspell. It's like a cancel out. It's like a, no, we're not gonna let you bully him. Stop that, and it just cancels the effect of equal or less. Then, so then empathy can never be played directly to board, maybe? Then egotism is look how good I am. Maybe with egotism, you introduce more tokens of yourself to the pot. You're like, look how good I am. I should be the one making all the decisions. And you just throw in more and more tokens. Yeah, you add tokens to the targeted location. And what would reason be? You could have like a thing like stubbornness to lock a token in place. That's a possible mechanic. Vigilance would be our anti-deception mechanic, however that would work. Trust would have to make other people more listen more to each other, right? So like if I trust you, a smaller argument becomes much more meaningful in my head. So is trust pulling trust, like, hey, you trust me, man, let's do this? Or is trust gaining trust? I guess you could do either, right? You could say, hey, thank you for the follow, Blue. You could say, you play it on your own thing, and you're trying to establish trust with your idea. You play it on an opponent's, then you're trying to sway them. Hmm. All right. Whatever I'm missing here, I think this is enough to start setting something up. Yeah. All right. Let's start. So then we're gonna put you over here. Move this out of the way. All right, that's out of the way. The pen is back in the holder, and now I can just fucking put that there. All right, now let's go tab back in. So we're gonna look at our code. So I started coding a little bit with what I already had. So let's see, card type. I don't think we're gonna have other card types anymore because the modifier passives aren't really cards. They're gonna be like rule effects. So I don't think we need card type anymore. Rank we still do, although I don't know if we're ever gonna get to 10. They're gonna have to be pretty drastic. Suit we definitely still need. And then owner we definitely still need. Okay. And then we'll need location. So all I'll do is say public. Is it gonna be an int? We could make it an enum. Hey, see you later, man. Let's see. If we make it an enum, then we'd have to create a dynamic. Well, we'd have to make a bunch of extras, like topic 1 through 7 or something, 1 through 20, so that they could get slotted in whenever you need the new topic to get introduced. Or I don't like that. I feel like instead what I should do, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a public byte of type, public byte of type. We're gonna make a public byte that does, that's just called location ID. And then that way we can, we're not gonna have to set it up ahead of time. That's way simpler. All right, we got card rank, we have card suit, character names, card type is gone. We don't need that. Card flag, that's gonna be for the other thing. So we'll get to that later. That's not gonna be for this. And then we're gonna go into game board. We're gonna make a character, 3 bots. Give them starter decks. Load the deck, which is currently just random shit. Of all the same suit. Set up the board, make a player, give them a starter deck. Then we need to come up with something for representing a topic. It's not representing a deck. So the deck is just an array of cards. That makes sense to me. Should be a list. So I'm gonna probably be, they're not gonna change too much in size. Well, maybe they will. Maybe that'll be part of the development of the game. So we'll do a okay, we'll leave it as an array for now. I'll come back to it if I need to. Topic. Character name. Who started the topic? Maybe. Let's do owner first. Who owns the topic? The play stack is the deck array. Why would it be a deck array? Wouldn't it be a card array? What the fuck was I thinking? Which is just a deck. That's all that... No. Okay, fucking hell. If deck is just a card array, then this is pointless. We're just gonna... Overcomplicating this. Okay. Better is resolved. Yeah, so there was an idea that maybe you could bring back old arguments. Like, you said this in the past, but you were fucking lying, and do some shit like that. So I have that bool for now. I don't know how... We'll get there. Okay, and then let's go to character. What's in character? Oh, these are the decks. Why really? I shouldn't have made a deck. I don't know why I made a deck. It's just card array. Oh, but that's going to be on all of these, so if I change it to a list... Okay, fine, fuck it, we'll have decks. Oh, I need to go on cards. I need to add a new bool called is facing down. So that way we know when it gets flipped. Alright, I don't know why I said facing down. God, I'm tired. Is face down. That's just... Okay. So then we have the deck, and then we have the topic. So, I don't think we're gonna have a deck anymore as the play stack anyways, right? We're gonna have a token stack. Which means I need to come up with a token data type. Alright. Class. Struct. Thought token, or just say, oh, what would you call these? Convince token, belief token, feeling token. Fuck it. Then we need a suit. Then we have a location ID. And then we need to have a owner. All right. I think that's everything we'll need for the game board. We'll see when we get there. Let's see how this works. So system manager is going to start the game. It's going to start the board. we're gonna grab a new player deck, which is going to be I think you can do randomization inside of Enum. Enup dot random. Or you can do it related to the specific enum. So this would be card rank dot random. Can you not do a... Hold on, let me look this up. I thought you could do a random enum value. Random enum value C#. Oh, I looked this up at one point. Okay. Get values. Get values returns an array that contains a value for each member of the enum type. Enum.getValues. Enum.getValues. Type of suit. Add range? No. Dot random? Fuck it. How many suits are there? So right now there's... Who cares? It's just all fucking... Suit is equal to 0. There. Fuck. I'm brain farting. This is not difficult. Why am I brain farting? Oh, because it's 10:30. That's why I'm brain farting. Did I start at 9? I thought I started like 6. Oh, shit. Alright. I am clearly too fucking stupid to work past 10. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go look into this tomorrow morning. Probably work on it for a little bit and then stream later tomorrow, probably. And just update on progress and see where we're at. And I'm thinking next plan is, or the plan is, make tokens, slide the tokens around based on the suits, make a big switch statement of all the different suits, and then yeah, and then go from there. Then you're just implementing what the suits do, and then you're good to go for the basic gameplay loop. Then it's a matter of counting totals. Fuck, I'm just going silent. I'm not speaking anymore. All right, that's the point where I need to end the stream. Yeah, character. Make the character. Make the you. I'm not gonna repeat myself. I said what I was gonna say. All right. Good night, everybody. Fuck.